Well, hello lovely humans, and welcome back to my channel. I picked probably one of the most unique days to do filming because we have like a massive thunderstorm happening, so the lighting is going to be a little bit off, but that doesn't detract from the value of what I'm sharing with you. It just means that we may hear more car noises because the highway is much louder in the rain. Today's whole video is going to be about negotiating prices with vendors. The purpose of this video is not to undermine what someone charges. That is not the point of this. This is simply a tried and true, effective way of communicating with each other to reach some sort of compromise that suits all groups involved. And although this video is likely going to be fantastic if I do say so myself, if you find yourself needing additional support, guidance, or need to figure out this whole wedding planning thing and just these videos aren't cutting it, please remember that the master plan is always available to you for a subscription of $29 a month, where we can help you get from point A to wedding day as masterfully as possible without losing any hair in the process. But for now, let's talk about how to negotiate a win-win with your wedding vendors. Ideally one that results in cheaper price tags, am I right? So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. First things first, let's be reasonable, shall we? You're not going to go into the Ritz-Carlton and expect to negotiate them down to the same price point you would pay at the local community center. There is a massive difference here. The same can be said for anyone who's been in the industry for a certain amount of time. Their pricing is going to be higher than anyone that's brand new. It's going to be a lot harder to negotiate with someone who's been doing this for 10 years and has no need to cheapen or lessen their prices simply because they're going to have a stacked dance card whether you book them or not. Instead, if you find yourself looking at a newer venue or working with a newer vendor, the likelihood of them working with you at your cost just went up a little. Second thing you need to do is do your research. You have to know what the standard is in order to know where you could save, where you could cut back, or where you could potentially ask for either a discount or ask for some more amenities. If you don't know what the standard is, it can be really hard to have that conversation negotiating when you don't know what you're negotiating for. This is the part that's a little bit difficult though, because there is no gold standard. There is no wedding standard. Prices are different in different cities, in different states. Depending on how long they've been in the business, you're going to see some differences. But if you do enough research, you'll find some consistent patterns in your city, in your area, or in the place that you want to get married. You'll kind of start to see a general range. You won't know that though unless you look into it. 3, get ready to ask. This may not be a big deal for some people, and for others, it may be an absolute nightmare, but they're not just going to offer you discounts because you showed up. If you want to negotiate with a vendor or a venue, you need to be prepared to ask those questions. I'm going to pause right here for just a second though. There's always, of course, there's no harm in asking. There is harm in devaluing services. There's a big difference, and it all comes from how you handle the situation, which will blend nicely into our next point. But for just a moment, I am never frustrated if someone asks or tries to negotiate with one of our packages. That doesn't bother me. What does bother me is when they try to little or lessen the services that we offer in order to make it sound like it's unimportant so they can save money on that task. If it's included in the package, it's something that usually that vendor or that venue deems as important. So it's in your best interest to be respectful when you ask for these things. Instead, I would go for the approach of what I like to call gracious honesty, where you're just like, hey, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm working with a $10,000 budget. We are hoping to keep our photography costs at $2,000. Is that something you feel like you could work with? Instead of nitpicking their package apart for what you don't deem as necessary, instead say, I'm going to be honest with you, here's all I got, can you work with that? And let them be a part of the conversation instead of you just attacking their package. Number 4, be kind. I know we kind of like talked about it in this last one, but it deserves its own category. If you are kind, if you are gracious, if you go out of your way to build a relationship with this vendor, you will see continued opportunities for either saving money or adding on amenities as the relationship goes on further. For example, I do my best to build up a really good relationship with vendors when I'm working with them, especially if they're on our preferred vendors list. And in exchange, sometimes some of those vendors will actually give my clients a discount because they know they're my clients and they know that I've built a relationship with them. So this is one of those cool times that being kind isn't just the right thing to do, but can actually inevitably, accidentally, maybe save you some money as well. And as that relationship grows and progresses, you could find yourself getting extra amenities tossed on to your package or to this service simply because of your kindness, of the relationship that you built, and your gracious honesty. Let's say you've been working with a venue for 6 months, you've had really nice exchanges with them, really good back and forth, and then you realize that you don't have a place to host your rehearsal dinner. Now, typically this is something that the venue could charge more for, but because you've built up a rapport with them, because you've been such a great client to work with, you call them up and say, hey, just curious, after our rehearsal, is there anything happening in that space? Would you be okay if we serve some dinner in there? They may say no, but they may say yes as well, simply because you've been so rad to work with that they want to give back to you. But lastly, number 5, be prepared for rejection and manage your expectations. Not everyone's going to say yes. They may gracefully say no and be like, you know what, that actually, I can't do that, here's why, or I appreciate you asking, but that doesn't work for me. You need to be prepared for that. So even if you are the nicest person on the planet and you followed all of these rules, you've been super respectful, that doesn't necessarily mean that a vendor is going to be keen to earn less money. So there you have it, guys. 5 rules for negotiating with your vendors. I can't guarantee that if you follow all of these that you're gonna get discounts from every single vendor, but if you're reasonable, you have manageable expectations, and you're not a jerk about it, it definitely warms up the conversation a lot more to open up that possibility now, doesn't it? If you haven't done so already, like this video because you liked the video, and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. Also, be sure to check out the master plan. Honestly, if you have any questions on budget stuff, that is the place that you need to be. Even if you just try it out for 1 month for 29 bucks or you want it for the entirety of your engagement, that's going to be one of the most comprehensive resources for you. Be sure to check that out down below. And until next week, bye guys!